I'm a nobody. It's a podcast. Well, really, it's nothing at all. But I'm about to tell a little story about the projects, or what you call subsidized living, or project development. So when you think of the word project, most people think of crafting something to present it to someone else, or someone think to project something. When I think of the word projects, I think of the words like Caprini Green, or one that's still around and notable for the immigration of Bukharian Jews, um, Lefrak City. And the reason why I'm speaking on this today is because a lot of people don't know that project does mean those words. It is a projection of what is to come. If you look at Lefrak City, it's spelled Lefrak. You can look it up on your phone or read a book. But Lefrak City is almost like a 2,000 apartment complex. You know what I mean? Like they probably even have more than that. But it's 2,000 apartments in their area. Within 2 to 3 blocks, there are malls. It's like a lot of malls in that area. It's so many stores. It's just everything, and I'm gonna tell you why it is. Because when you say the word project, to project, that's a projection of the future. In the future, when you walk out your front door, within 2 to 3 blocks, everything that you need is gonna be there. Like as far as grocery stores, the mall, and every other little thing. So you never really have to leave home. So it would just make you think about it like this. It will make you what they want to call an average citizen. Because if you don't have to go nowhere to get anything and it's just right there and right here, what would you do? Literally, what would you do? If going to the mall wasn't a hour drive, or let's just say 30-minute drive for people that do have to go 30 minutes, if it was more like a 3-minute drive, the grocery store was more like a 3-minute drive, where else would you go? Sure, a lot of people say, oh, I go where my friends live. What if your friends lived in that same area? Because land developers bought the land on where they live in their subsidized living. So now they got to migrate somewhere else. Where would you go? You would end up going in that same area where everything was. Because it would be, in a way, somewhat cheaper. And, you wouldn't have to spend money on other things because everything is in your vicinity. Well, that's the future of America that I want to tell you guys about, this subsidized living, even with suburban areas. When people think of like, let's just say like Sherman Oaks, or uh, Waukegan, Illinois. Sherman Oaks is in California, of course. um Even with suburban areas, they sort of kind of do the same thing to people. They make them want to just stay at home and don't do nothing at all. And that's a way to sort of kind of lower crime. I'm not saying it's neither a good thing or a bad thing, but where would the where would the true humility come from? That from shelling people into an area, from shelling people into an area where, they have no option just to really stay in that area because they don't see further. They don't project further out of those projects that's already projecting so many different influences. So, a lot of people can say, oh, you're bashing our economic structure, but um, economics is a tool used for, gaining, you know, gaining a lot of things, not just money, but primarily it's used for gaining money. But also, it's a tool on warfare. And I'm not sure if a lot of people, knew that or whatever. Hopefully you did. But it's a tool used for warfare. It's a tool to make people subservient. So when you think of projects, do you see it as, all right, a cheaper way to live that's cost effective to save you more money? Or do you see it as a way to make you subservient? So you don't have a bigger dream than going out, just in going to the mall, getting the latest pair of shoes because you didn't save money living in these projects, and you can do that. Um, which I don't think is a bad thing, but then again, it's like, come on, I'm already living in projects. Why do you have to sell me all this stuff? Even though I do have a choice. But subliminal messaging, which we'll talk about on a later date, subliminal messaging is real. People say they have a choice. Like I talked to one of my associates last night. He was like, people got a choice and people got choice. What choice do people have? You got the choice to live. You got the choice to die. Them the only two choices you got. Them the only two choices you got. Everything else is embedded in your mind every day from the time that you wake up to the time that you go to sleep. Imprinted. You can make decisions, which would seem like a choice, but you would still be following that narrow path of the messaging that you're being influenced by. You know, words that people say are one of them, are a form of subliminal messaging. Um, if you see advertisements and posters, like when you see the Coca-Cola with the um with the water trickling down to make it seem like it's cold on the billboard, that's a way of subliminal messaging. If you see McDonald's hamburgers, and they look big and juicy on the commercial, that's subliminal messaging. Because when you go to McDonald's, they're not really big and juicy; they're flat and round. Um, but I just look at it like this: before you judge someone that lives in the projects or subsidized living, take a look around where they live. Ask yourself, what is over here that's sort of kind of got them in a grasp? You know, um, Everywhere you go, almost where I'm from, if you live in certain areas, it's certain things that have you in a grasp. The area that I live in, I live by a mall. I live by a grocery store. Some days that convenience has me in a grasp. The fact that if I walk out my doorstep, a mile or two away, I can go to a grocery store, or a mile or five away, I can go to the mall. That convenience some days has me in a grasp. I can honestly say that. So before you mock people that, you know, live in a, more deplorable situation than you, first you have to find out what has you in a grasp. Yourself. I'm just a nobody. This is a podcast about nothing at all.